A warm welcome to the History Show here on Uxbridge FM, and we welcome back Ken Pearce, who is Chairman of the Uxbridge Local History Society. Good morning, Ken. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you very much, and good morning to everybody.
Our first talk this morning is Queen Elizabeth in Uxbridge. When you're ready, Ken.
Thank you very much. Yes, well, it seemed appropriate, following the death of Her late Majesty, to just mention her visits to our area in the past. The Queen's first visit here was actually on the 25th of April, 1934, just after her 8th birthday. She visited the Lowenshawyer cut flower nursery, which was then a very flourishing business covering nearly 200 acres and employing about 1,000 people. And that rose to roughly 1,400 in peak periods. It was the largest employer of labour in the Uxbridge area. The main crops were chrysanthemums and carnations. She came with her grandmother, Queen Mary, and the royal couple spent over an hour here being shown round the nursery by George Shawyer, who was the head of the firm at the time. But unfortunately, as far as I know, no photographs were taken of the occasion. The nursery, incidentally, was badly affected by World War II and closed in 1958, and most of the site became occupied by Brunel University. On the 25th of June 2002, the Queen, with the Duke of Edinburgh, came here as part of her Jubilee tour of the whole country. And hundreds of people gathered in Uxbridge town centre, which had been decorated with flags and bunting. The royal couple were greeted by the Deputy Lieutenant of Greater Middlesex and the Mayor of Hillingdon, Councillor Mrs. Josephine Barrett. Among those introduced to their Majesties were committee members of the Hillingdon Arts Association, who had commissioned a statue for the town centre. It showed a woman with 2 children and a dog, and was called Anticipation. The sculptor was a lady called Anita Lafford. When the Queen arrived, the statue was covered in a net containing blue and yellow balloons. But as 6 trumpeters from the RAF Central Band sounded a fanfare, the Queen cut the net, the balloons rose into the air, and the statue was revealed. The crowd applauded with enthusiasm. The Queen and the Mayor then walked along the High Street together, the Duke, meanwhile, making sure that small children were brought to the front of the crowd so that they could see the Queen, and those who had brought flowers were ushered forward to actually hand them to the Queen. There was further generous applause as, in due time, the royal couple left. The third visit came in May 2006, and this time the Queen came on her own as the Duke was a little unwell. She was driven down Gatting Way to be met by MP John Randall, the Mayor David Routledge, and Councillor Leader Ray Poddyfoot. There, Her Majesty unveiled a plaque to open the Hillingdon House Farm athletics track, which was the first phase of a planned sports and leisure complex, which would include an Olympic-sized swimming pool. The project was in fact completed in 2010 and opened by the then Mayor of London, a man called Boris somebody, I can't remember the rest of it. Anyway, on that day in 2006, the Queen went on to Brunel University where she opened a new health centre. This was followed by lunch with invited guests, after which he was able to meet some of the students. One final thought. When she became queen, she was in Africa. So she at once flew home and arrived at Heathrow Airport. So the first place in England where she set foot was in Hillingdon Borough. The Queen died in Scotland, and her coffin was flown south to RAF Northolt. So the first place she was brought to after her death was also in Hillingdon Borough. There's quite a nice cemetery about that.
Well, thanks, Ken. Yes, very nice. So the Queen visiting Hillingdon 3 times in her lifetime.